So I thought it would be fun for us to kind of just do this from the top together again. So I haven't fully done my document that I like to make. So I'm making a document right now in Notion. This is where I keep each month. So each month I'll just have like the month and then curriculum and then 2025. And in there, what's really cool is I'll like have my units and then what I'm reading. And then within that, I'll embed a page. So when I click through to the page, it will have like notes and stuff. I really enjoy using this and I use it very basically, like it's not fancy or anything like that. I just really like it for helping me keep track of things digitally. But I do a lot of my note-taking like by hand because I actually do prefer to write things by hand. I don't know. I don't know why. I just think I'm like a little old school like that. I don't really know. So for the month of October, I really wanted so I like to kind of set an intention at the beginning of my month, right? So each month I do this, I make my own curriculum. I like to pretend I'm like in my own little school because I was realizing that I love that kind of structure. I love to learn. I like knowing things. And when I am going about it, I like to organize it in these sections where it's like, okay, I'm going to learn about public health. Okay, I'm going to watch all of like a certain production company's movie. I like to have like a theme with the things that I'm focusing on. So that's kind of like what's going on here. And my intention for this month is I love the fall, so I want to feel cozy and I want to get the most out of this season and this month. So I thought it would be fun to do a little bit of like a spooky season, cozy, nostalgic little unit here. So what I'm going to be doing is a little revisit to True Blood. So I'm a big vampire girly, Twilight, period. So I'm going to be rereading the Sookie Stackhouse books. So this is the first one. This is Dead Until Dark. So this is, I don't even know when it came out. Let's see. I read these books, you guys, when I was in the 8th grade. This came out in 2001. Okay, yeah. So in the 8th grade, I started reading these books and I ate this shit up. I remember just like tearing through them and I couldn't get them from the library quick enough. I was so obsessed with them. So I thought that this would be like a really fun, like nostalgic thing to do because I've already read them. So I'm familiar, but it's been so long. I'm 32 now. It's been so long. So it'll be really fun to revisit these. And I love vampire stuff. I loved True Blood. I love Sookie Stackhouse. I'm really excited for this. So I'll be reading the first 3. Dead Until Dark is number 1, and then Living Dead in Dallas, and then Club Dead. And I know that seems ambitious, but these books, I've read them before, and they're like such quick little reads. So that'll be fun. And obviously, because we're on like a little True Blood vampire kick, I actually found this. Where did I get this one? I got this at a thrift or a flea market. I got it at the Connecticut one. I went to this cool indoor flea market in Connecticut and I got this. It's the first season of True Blood. I collect physical media and I love having like box sets of shows because it's just the best. So I'm going to be rewatching. Oh my God, like period. Look at that. I can't even. Oh my God, Lafayette, my favorite. So yeah, I'm going to be reading these books, just revisiting that cozy nostalgia, but also, excuse me, please don't bark, please hold. Sorry, Turtle and I was going crazy. I don't know why. Sometimes she it's so weird. She'll bark at like not animals, like dogs on the TV sometimes, but then sometimes she doesn't. This is the thing, you guys. Okay, the same thing when I bring her for walks. Some dogs, she just like decides that she has beef with. Some dogs we can walk by and it's like totally fine. And then some dogs, she complete puffer fish and is just like, and I'm just like, girl, what? But she was just barking at something on the TV. So yeah, my little vampire situation. And for this unit, I'm just calling it spooky season. So those 3 books with True Blood, I'm like really excited for that. Like I might start that tonight. And then I'm going to be rereading Practical Magic. Okay, obviously I've watched Practical Magic like 3 times already this season. Mind your business, okay? I love Practical Magic so much, you guys. So I was like, I love Practical Magic, the movie, and I love all of the books about I think there's like a few books. There's magic lessons, there's practical magic, and then there's another one. I don't remember what the other one is, but there's a few of these books and they're so good. They're so cozy. I love them so much. So I thought, again, with that like nod to nostalgia, I would read this, and it like won't be too much because I've already read it before. So it'll just be like a quick, cozy little read. And witches for spooky season. I thought that was appropriate. Okay, and then I'm also reading The October Country by Ray Bradbury for the spooky unit as well. But this one is kind of funny, you guys, because I feel like the True Blood and the Practical Magic is a little bit more campy. And then this is like a little bit more serious literature, I guess. I don't really know. So I've read Fahrenheit 451. I read that when I was young, and I have not read this yet. So this is an anthology of like spooky stories. So they're like dark, nightmare-y, spooky, like it's kind of giving like an, you know how Edgar Allan Poe has like his little short stories that are not like horror, but they're dark and spooky and just like ominous and make you feel like, oh dear. So this sounds really good. Like I like his writing too, and this is like a classic thing, but there's so many different like spooky stories in this. So I thought it would be fun because here's the thing, this is like a pretty chill thing to get through. Some of the stories are so short. So I feel like if I just don't really have, you know, a ton of time, if I want to just like read for 10 minutes, that's a little story, you know? So I feel like a few minutes here and there, I'll just do a few stories and then in no time I'll be done with this. I know that I'm going to get through everything. I'm going to prioritize this unit, obviously, because it's October. So that is what we're going to do for that. We have that all nice and done in the Notion. We're going to do this. I'm not going to read books 1 through 3. And then perfect, practical. Moving on to the public health unit. So this one came to be because last month I was doing a public health unit that was focused on tuberculosis. And then I was doing a online class with Harvard X that was about cholera, which is kind of funny because I was like, what does that even have to do with prediction? But it ended up making sense. So because I was doing those, I was like, yeah, this feels right. And I want to learn more about it. And so many people gave me like really great recommendations. And so I took them. A lot of you guys here and on TikTok were recommending this book to me. This is The Ghost Map, The Story of London's Most Terrifying Epidemic and How It Changed Science Cities in the Modern World by Stephen Johnson. So this nice, short, sweet, I'm excited for this. It was recommended in the Harvard class and then by so many people. So I have really good feelings about this. And then this book is about tuberculosis. So this is called The Black Angels. This is the untold story of the nurses who helped cure tuberculosis. This was recommended to me on TikTok. A lot of people were saying to read this. This is about these Black nurses who came up to New York during the late 1920s because tuberculosis was fucking shit up, basically. There was no antibiotics yet. And there was a nursing shortage. They were promised good pay. They were like, okay, hey, come on up here. We'll pay you good. And you won't have to live in the Jim Crow South anymore. So it'll be better. And it like, indeed, like is not, I guess, because it says that they are still very segregated and dealing with some not great stuff. So I think this will be really interesting to read about because when I was learning about tuberculosis, you know, I wasn't really reading anything about what it was like in a specific time period in America. It was, the stuff that I was learning about was a little bit more modern day, what was going on in Sierra Leone with a specific person, as well as like some information about tuberculosis in like the 19th century and 20th century. It was like a little bit more just like facts about it. So I think this will be really interesting to hear like more of this is what was going on. like at the ground level. Does that make sense? Okay, so I've been doing this unit for the last like few months, I want to say, that is inner alchemy. So it's inner alchemy, like thinking about like the consciousness and like what's going on in our dreams, because our dreams are crazy. And my dreams, you guys, I just want to understand what's going on. So I was reading Carl Jung, and I was supposed to read this, but then I didn't have enough time. So I'm actually going to get to it. Like now I'm going to start this today. So this is Waking, Dreaming, Being, Consciousness in Neuroscience, Meditation, and Philosophy by Evan Thompson. So yeah, this was something I was going to read last month. I'm finally going to read it this month because your girl needs to get back to reading about consciousness and dreams, because it's just so cool, you guys. Well, cool to me. So that is another unit. So far we have spooky season, we have public health, and then inner alchemy. I know it sounds like a lot, but it's not. It's going to be okay. Taking another class with Harvard Online, that like Harvard X thing that I've been doing for the last few months. And this is another installment of their Prediction X series. So this one is Prediction X, Lost Without Longitude, Explore the History of Navigation from Stars to Satellites. So I think that'll be cool. And it just talks about navigation and how that is related to prediction. So I think that's cool, because these courses, it's funny, they kind of have like nothing to do with each other, but they do have stuff to do with each other. So the first one was about prophecy and oracles in regard to prediction. The second one was more of like an epidemiology focused course that was like, okay, when we have a prediction here in regard to like a disease, right? Figuring out, hey, I think if these people are going to be drinking this water, they are going to get sick. Here is the data that is backing that. Therefore, right? So that was really cool, learning about cholera. And then here, navigation. So like these have, it's funny, right? Like astrology and, tarot card reading, throwing dice, stuff like that for the first one. Second one is about cholera. Third one's about navigation. I like that. I like how different they are. So I am taking this little class, and this doesn't take super long. The other two took me probably like 6 hours each. So nothing too crazy. This is something that I'll probably get done in like 2 or 3 days. This is like a fun thing that I like to do on the weekend. Like on a Saturday morning, if I'm not working, I sit with my little class. I like do my station. I set up my like lap desk downstairs, and it's so fun and so cute. So then, okay, I'm actually, you guys, it seemed a lot more unorganized, but I'm doing a good job. All right. We have that, and that. And then next up, yes. So Walking in This World. Okay. Walking in This World is something that I started last month. I started this last month. I only did weeks 1 through 3. I was going to do 4 weeks last month, and I didn't end up getting to the 4th one. So I decided, you know what, for this month, I'm also just going to do 3 of the weeks. So I'm going to be doing weeks 4, 5, and 6. And this is the second course after The Artist Way. The Artist Way is something that I did earlier this year and finished in August, and I really liked it. So I wanted to do this one as well. So week 4 is Discovering a Sense of Adventure. And then week 5 is Discovering a Sense of Personal Territory. And then week 6 is Discovering a Sense of Boundaries. Those will be the 3 weeks that I will be doing. And then after that, we'll have like a little check-in, because it'll be halfway through the course. So we can talk about my thoughts and feelings about it. So far, I don't really know how to feel. I think that it's fine. A lot of it is stuff that I already like kind of think about. So, I mean, that is nice to reinforce that thought, to be like, oh yeah, okay, so I do feel these things. It's nice that someone else is like, yeah, it's really important to be able to like be present with yourself and believe in yourself and all shit like that. So I like this, but I don't know. I don't want to speak too much on it until I have like more information. I need more data. So that unit that I do, I call it creativity and inner child healing, because that is a lot of what that focus is this like healing your creative self. Your inner child is your muse, right? Your inner child is your inner artist. So that is why I call this unit inner child healing, with creativity and inner child healing. So we'll do that for that. So each month I like to read a memoir. Memoirs were something that got me back into nonfiction like a few years ago. I think that, you know, if you want to get into nonfiction, it's kind of like a less scary way to do that. It doesn't feel so intimidating, I think. And hearing people's stories, I always think is so interesting. I love to learn about people and their stories and their perspective on things, because we're all so different. Like, we are all connected, but we're all so different. And we all have like our own struggles and our own joys. And I love to learn about that and to read about it. And even if I like maybe don't like the person, like if the person I end up being like, no, I don't really like you. Cause I have read some memoirs where I'm like, I don't like you one bit, and that's okay. I do like when that happens too, because it just like shows me like, okay, like what am I not aligned with? You know, I think that it's just, I don't know. I think it's good to read a little bit of everything to learn about lots of different perspectives and stuff like that. I'm just so nosy. I love knowing the tea. I just feel like it's like, ooh, secrets, ooh, gossip, you know what I mean? Okay, so I'm getting distracted. So The Beauty in Breaking is the memoir I'm reading this month. This is by Michelle Harper. I don't know too much about this other than she is an African-American emergency room nurse. She had a really rough childhood. She goes through it. Her and her husband like break up, and then she like moves to a new city, and being like a Black woman in a very like white man's male space, just dealing with navigating that and how difficult that is. And this is her story of self-healing and how, you know, all of her patients that she writes about here taught her something important about recuperation and recovery. And I just really enjoy reading about people who work in healthcare. I love hearing women's stories, especially like women in healthcare, because, you know, it's rough out in these streets. It really is. I was going to be a nurse. I worked in hospitals for a little bit. It's a crazy time. It really is a crazy time. But I don't know, there's something really beautiful though about the interactions that you have with people. And I do think that you really can learn so much from people who are going through it as well. Because I don't know, when people are going through it and you just see how strong they are and overcoming adversity, it's just like so admirable. And it like is a reminder for me always to like keep going and to be strong. I don't know. So yeah, I'm excited to read that little memoir. Very nice. Finally, this is the last thing, you guys. So this is Jesus and John Wayne, how white evangelicals corrupted a faith and fractured a nation. I picked this up because there's a creator on TikTok that I really like. He always recommends, he reads a lot of nonfiction. I think he might only read nonfiction. He recommends a lot of nonfiction books, and any time I have taken one of those recs and read those books, I have really enjoyed. So I trust. And he was talking about like books that you can read to like have a better understanding of like what is going on in our country right now. And that is something that I really want to understand, especially like all of the hate that is going on. Want to have a better understanding of why and where these people are kind of coming from, and having a little bit, I just want to start like gathering a little bit more data to understand the evolution of this and how we got to where we are today, just so I can like learn how to better navigate, I guess, situations, if that kind of makes sense. So yeah, and that's kind of like a little bit of a heavy one, so I apologize about that. But yeah, that is my curriculum for October. Okay, how do you feel about that? That was honestly not that bad, you guys. I feel like that was actually really fun to bang out. It really wasn't that bad. I felt so unorganized, but it ended up being okay. Look at all this good stuff. Look at all this good stuff that we're gonna be doing. Goodness, October is gonna be a very, very fun month, divas. Like I am really excited. Like, look at these stacks. I know it looks really overwhelming, but here's the thing. This is the best thing about this. If I don't finish it, it's okay. Cause I'm not gonna yell at myself. I'm like the queen at yelling. I'm the queen of yelling at myself. I have been so hard on myself like most of my life. I'm still hard on myself about things. I am like very much when I was younger, overachiever, like things need to be done a very specific way. And if I'm like, I can't do it a specific way, like I won't do it at all. And this is definitely just a practice in like, no, like I can just do what I want. I love learning on my own. I love learning about the things I want to learn about, and having no pressure to finish this, to just, it kind of gives me a menu too of like things that I could be focusing on. And that helps me because sometimes I get so overwhelmed with all of the new books that are coming out, or, you know, things that are really popular. And I'm like, there's so much to do. And I feel like it's so scattered. So this is a way for me to be more intentional with my reading. And this also, just to let you know, like does not include like some of the fun books that I read. Like I also read a few like cutesy, like silly fiction books each month as well. Like romancy, fantasy, just like silly books. But yeah, that is everything for my October curriculum. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being patient with me. I am gonna try to be better about getting these up on time. Adiva was weeded this month though. I really wanted to get this out for the first, but it is what it is. I love you guys so much. Again, thank you for being here. I'm really excited for this month. I will have some vlogs, and we'll also do a curriculum wrap up at the end of October. So until next time, happy reading and happy learning. I will see you guys later.